Powered by Riverside.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Blue Jay Banner. Today, I'm Tim Kruger, along with me, AJ Andreessen.
Morning, Tim.
Hey, AJ, how you doing,
Long
man?
time no see.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching. This is our last show before Christmas, so enjoy it. We'll be back next Monday to get you set for that big Butler game on Tuesday night. And then just want to thank our sponsors who have helped us tremendously this year, and we really, really, really appreciate it. And first up is RTI Threads, who've just been a fabulous sponsor for us. Go to rtithreads.com. Check out everything they have to offer, including tees, sweatshirts, hoodies, you name it. They've got it in Creighton gear. Get stocked up for the Big East season. They always go back and check because they always come up with new items, like specialized items with a certain player or what have you. So give it a look every once in a while because there may be some stuff that you really, really want. So go to rtithreads.com, and then also Infusion Brewing Company. Hey, what a late, if you're still looking for a stocking stuffer, go over there and get a gift card for people over at Infusion Brewing, or just pick up some beer for the holidays. Infusion Brewing Company, go to infusionbrewing.com. They've got a lot of holiday beers, including the Vanilla Bean Christmas Cookie. They got some German stouts, dill pickle, and of course, the standard over there, the Let It Fly lager that you see at games at the Let It Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha. So check it out. That's infusionbrewing.com. All right, so it is Analytics AJ Tuesday. He's here
Let's
to
go, Tim.
dazzle us with stuff. All right, start dazzling, buddy.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with something that I think is the most shocking for all of us this year, which is bench minutes. So near 40% of our minutes played have come from the bench this year. So comparison, that puts us 39th in the nation.
Really? Only 39th? I thought it'd be better than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of small schools that have like 60% of their bench playing that are probably trying to figure out their lineups. But if you go back the last couple years, we've been 290th or worse in the NCAA in bench minutes, pretty much going back to Greg's time at Creighton. Yeah. So comparing that to this year that we're 39th and have over 40% of the minutes is a huge swing. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion. Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? And then how do you see this changing as the season goes on? Because I feel like we're figuring out a lot of roster clarity right now. And we have some injuries, which is going to obviously hurt bench minutes because there's going to be less people coming off the bench. But I guess, do you see that trend continuing this year?
Well, lot to unpack there when you talk about
there is.
Points.
Yes.
First of all, I'm not particularly surprised that we have that many bench points.
Bench minutes, really. I haven't got to bench points yet. That's the next topic.
Bench minutes. I'm really not, because going in, we thought this was going to be our strength, right? Number two, the reason why was McDermott said the Auburn game last year in the NCAA tournament really opened his eyes.
Yep.
To that point, I think big kudos to Coach McDermott for still, even at his age and his experience, adapting, right? Like, I know yourself. I got a way of doing this show, and man, it takes a lot for somebody who says, "Hey, why don't you do it this way?" Austin kind of, I don't know that he came up with the idea for this show, but he certainly got me in the right direction for this show. If say that, and even that, I was like, I don't know, but that's really, that's really hard to do, especially a guy, how tough is it for him to go, yeah, I think I've won one or two games. I know what I'm doing here,
Well, that's what they always say about his coaching tree and why it's so good is because he delegates so well and trusts people's opinion. And that really helps you grow as a leader too when you're willing to listen
Yeah.
to younger people that are coming through the program. So credit to
Yeah.
him. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Got a Merry Christmas from him. I got a Merry Christmas from him last night for the first time, I
yeah,
think, in
he was
eons.
social
But
last night.
yeah, Coach Miller was at Let It Fly after the game, so that was cool. And
He had some fun
they had an
stories.
embrace, and Coach McDermott said to Coach Miller, "I am so proud of you. Keep it going."
That's
Because
awesome.
Coach Miller's off to a great start. So anyway, back to the bench. So yeah, and that's the thing, right? I mean, we even talked about a little bit last night on the post-game show about, when Hud comes back, who's going to lose some minutes, right?
Right.
And we said, we're waiting for that moment where we see only 8 guys play a game, right? We're just waiting for that.
Yeah.
Will it come? I don't know.
I don't know if we're going to get it
I
this year, Tim.
Yeah, I think too, what helps too is when you've got Coach Huss kind of taking a major role, being able, and he played. I don't have his high point stats, but he played a pretty deep bench at High Point. I mean,
Yeah.
for a mid major especially. So I think he's on board with it, and I think he would be there like, hey, coach, we can't forget about keeping the bench going.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if it does. I think the thing that's going to help the bench minutes keep going was the fact he flipped this lineup, and now we're actually having some of our strongest performers coming off the bench.
Right.
Nick Graves, Blake Harper, people like that. So and then Owen too,
Right.
because we're going to get
Yeah, I
him
mean, if
minutes
you
every game, no matter the effectiveness or lack of it. And if you want to get more to that subject, go on and watch our replay of our post game last night. We talked about it. But yeah,
right.
I think it'll be interesting as we get, if you go back in Coach McDermott's history and look back on it, there's certain games he starts someone and then they don't play when it was crunch time, and other guys got minutes. Mason Miller was a guy like that. He would start, but yet when it came down to the end of the game, mostly because of defense, he didn't have Mason in there.
Yeah.
And he would go with Jason Green, where Jason didn't start. And, so you may see something like that too. At the end of a game, he may go with Nick Graves and Blake Harper or, whatever.
Well, you know me, I'm a big Ken Palm guy. So to your point, like Ty Davis has been starting, right? But on Ken Palm, he's in the bucket of a limited role, meaning he's only used in like 12% of possessions. So basically what's that saying is he doesn't get as many minutes as anybody else, and he is starting. So just got to figure out everybody's role. But I'm going to keep going with the bench stats so we can keep going here. So Creighton has scored 43 bench points against Xavier and 41 versus Marquette. So before that, they had gone 147 straight Big East games without scoring 40 points off the bench. So that dates back to the 2017-2018 season. And then I'll credit Rob Anderson here because I just saw this tweet this morning. But if you look at like over 40 bench points going back to 2013, it goes 0 out of 18, 2, 1, 0, 1, and then the rest zeros until this year when we're 2 of 2 in the Big East play with over 40 bench points. So clearly a trend here, and it should be interesting to see how the rest of this year goes.
Yeah. The first thing I'd say is, when Rob is done being SID, man, just open up the Rob Anderson Sports Bureau. It'd just be like the go-to guy for, because then he could expand and go out to other sports and
For sure.
nationwide. He would kill it. People would love stuff like that.
Me as like a stats and numbers nerd, I love the stuff that he puts out. It's so good all the time. All right, so I'm going to ask you this.
Pretty amazing. Amplifies the bench again. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of switch here. I'm going to ask you this before I tell you the number. Do you think that we play at a fast tempo relative to the rest of the nation?
I would say we always have. I would say this year it seems to me slower than most other years.
Yeah, so we're 247th in the nation right now in tempo. I will say historically, we're not even as quick as I thought. We usually fall in that 150-ish range. So that's still, upper echelon of the NCAA, but it feels like when we watch the game, when you see Greg on the side rushing everybody down the court, it seems like we play really fast. But I think, we're very strategic in that if we don't have a clear breakaway, we pull the ball back and we reset. And usually I feel like when we have that half-court offense, we're very, very slow, which I think hurts our tempo numbers. But I just thought that was interesting because
what I would say, the first thing, I don't know anything about it, so I would say how do they grade that? How do they
tempo
judge
is
that tempo?
usually graded by time of possession or like number of possessions per game.
Yeah, so that's a little misleading as far as tempo. Like, you could race down the floor every time, and if you don't put a shot up,
Correct.
you know what I mean? Like, you could beat the other team
Yes.
down the floor and then not put a shot up and then run it down 30 seconds. Then your tempo.
Correct. And that's what I feel like Creighton does a lot, to my point.
Yeah. Well, I think now, like, we used to play teams where they would crash the offensive boards and then we would just kill them on the fast break. We don't ever see any teams like that anymore. Everybody, like last night, like the ball hit the rim and I'm looking around like, oh, do we got a break? No, their team was already at half court. They were going back, man. And every team is just drilled into that. And so it's amazing to me that we still do get breaks, I think, to your point, AJ, why our tempo is being cut back because of the explanation you gave me is because of the ineffectiveness of our half-court offense and how we struggled to find the right lineup.
I think
so
that's
it's
100%
taking
right.
longer for us to get shots. Look at last night when the game started. How many possessions went to 5 seconds?
Yeah.
I think we had a shot clock in there too.
I think of the Nebraska game immediately too. I mean, every single possession, I felt like we were chucking up a shot with 1 second left in the shot clock because our half-court offense was just dishing it around the three-point line, running around, and then someone having to take it and shoot.
Yeah.
But
couldn't agree more. We still, despite what we just said about last night, we still scored 92 points,
Right.
Yeah. And I think what it's doing too is probably, this team is not big and it's not, I don't think, particularly a good rebounding team. I think it really helps our rebounding because the other team almost never gets an offensive rebound or gets very few.
Yeah,
it's way less than they probably should. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, a couple times this year when we've lost, we've blamed it on offensive rebounds. So it's a double-edged sword. But all right, so speaking of defense, I was looking and based on this last good run of like the last 10 years for Creighton, we historically finish like 20 to 40th defense-wise. We're never like top 10. We were a couple years with Kalkbrenner, but this year is no different. We're like 40th defensively and have pretty good numbers, actually. What's different from this year than our last couple of years is our offense. So 2-point field goal percentage, we're at 57% right now, which puts us at like 55th in the nation. In the last 3 years, we finished 2nd, 3rd, and 20th.
Yeah.
So that seems to be exactly. I was going to say that it's literally having my notes, Kalkbrenner effect. But it's, kind of brings a question of like, how do we get better shots at the rim? Because I feel like we're forcing a lot of mid-range, which is what we usually hate to do. Like Josh Dix is having to hit a lot of those mid-range pullback shots that we're not used to. So like, is that our new strategy? Are we going to try to like get the rim more? I don't know the answer to that, but obviously 2-point percentage has taken a hit this year. So
yeah, I would say Owen and then recently Karam haven't been very effective down there. They seem to not be able to get their shot off. Like Owen's explosiveness, excuse me, I think has gotten worse. They're trying to limit his minutes, build him up, and so forth. I think his explosion has gotten way worse here lately. And like last night, again, it pushed that one that he made, from about 8 feet. So because of that, we're not getting the easy ones now. Thankfully, Utah Tech went to that 1-3-1 zone, which against us, usually, well, there's been times where you have an aggressive 1-3-1 there. People have come out in the wings and trapped us, and it's really caused us a big pain.
Mhm.
But this team, not just the 3-point shooting so much, Jason Green loves roaming that baseline and he hits that 1-3-1, and he gets, and the guys, credit to the scouting too, again, credit to like a guy like Julian last night that we had on our show that does the film study, because they were ready for it, and they went, I think 3 or 4 possessions, 3 out of 4 possessions there, we got a dunk or a layup on that 1-3-1, and then they backed out of it because it was, it was just
Yeah, we
giving up
looked ready
really
for
easy.
that.
Yeah, so credit to them. Stuff like that obviously would help. The other thing that helps too, again, back to the pace, we're not getting any fast break layups, so
Mhm. Yeah,
that's
that's
going to hurt your
huge.
percent.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, well, on to some good things. The last 5 games, Jays are about 40% from 3, averaging like 13 per game. So if you look at that versus the first couple games of the year, huge difference, huge uptick in threes and 3 percentage the last couple games. If you exclude the Nebraska game, we're actually near 44% from 3. So something's working there.
Yeah. Well, I'd say number one thing that pops into my mind is more minutes for Isaac Trout. So you get a 3-point shooter on the floor more. Number 2, Nick Graves is hitting threes.
Yep.
That's helped a lot.
So
there's
that's
2
my next
guys
point.
right
So that's
there.
perfect segue. So
Because you don't have like, think about that. You just those 2 guys. Now think about everybody else. We don't have Jackson anymore, so no threes there. Fedor really hasn't hit any. Ty hasn't hit any.
Schwartz.
Jason hasn't really shot any. So that's 3 guys right there that maybe contribute and don't and haven't. And Blake Harper's been in a slump too.
Yeah.
There's another guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, and those are the 3 guys specifically that I call out here. So like leading it has been Nick Graves. He's shot about 57% in the last couple games, 11 for 19 after starting 15% the first 7 games. So he was 5 for 32, and then the last couple games he's 11 for 19. So that's a pretty incredible uptick.
That's coming
right there.
back to the mean.
Correct. Mean reversion. I
He's
love
about
mean
a
reversion.
35% 3-point shooter, and that's about what he is now.
And he's getting there. Isaac Trout has been 41% the last 5 games. Austin Schwartz has been near 40%. So those 3, to your exact point, have really carried us.
Yeah, Schwartz is the other guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it seems like we're finding our rhythm in scoring, right? We're finally moving the ball around on offense. We're finally hitting the threes. So I looked up like what is our point threshold. So we are 159-7, and this is just home games. When we score 80 or more points, 159-7, and that we've won the last 23 games when scoring 80 or more points at home.
And I bet you the 24th game was the Butler game a couple years ago.
It
when we lost 99 to 98.
Providence in overtime, 91-87, February 7th, 2024.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been before.
Butler was
I think
right.
that was
Yeah.
in early 24, early 23 was the Butler game.
Yeah. The next.
I only remember that because I was in St. Lucia, and I was watching the game on my phone, and then like it stuck. And I thought, oh, well, they haven't updated the score in like 10 minutes. But then I found out it was because there was a review or something. And yeah.
Yeah, St. Lucia would be cool. The next longest streak in the Big East is 11 games from UConn. So 23 versus 11. I mean, that's, like I said, our defense is always consistent, right? It's always good enough. So we got to score 80 or more points. That's kind of our threshold. That usually leads to wins.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, like against when we get the bigger, like St. John's, especially so defensive oriented, and then, although they've been giving up a few more this year, and then UConn they're just so talented, so it's going to be tough against them. I'm trying to think of other teams that might like maybe when we go at Providence, they'll slow us down. We don't particularly shoot well there. It'll be interesting to see how Villanova adapts and evolves through the Big East season if they're going to be a defensive team or, Willard had pretty much really good offensive teams when he was at Seton Hall. So I
Right.
would guess maybe that's the route they'll go. Did you hear what he said
Yep.
last night?
I did not.
So he's facing, really under the radar. It's the only big game tonight is Seton Hall and Villanova, which is a huge game in the Big East. And Willard's going to Seton Hall. Like a lot of people are forgetting about that. So he's going to Seton, back to Seton Hall. And they were talking about Seton Hall, and he said he's not surprised because their NIL has improved. And then they got to talking, and he said he had $3 million NIL at Maryland. Like, I don't know. I don't follow that because I've been told so many times by people that don't believe anything you read about the totals of NIL because they're all off. They're all overinflated. So, but still, I would think at like Maryland, until the revenue, before the revenue sharing with football, I would think that was pretty low. Maybe which explains why they probably haven't been at the top of the Big Ten, even though they're, getting guys like Queen, top, 25 guys out of prep school.
Yeah, but then you're spending your big percentage of your NIL budget on a couple guys, and then you have to try to fill all these spots that,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah,
But I love when
I would love
coaches
to
are
see
open
real
about it.
numbers. I would
For
love one
sure.
time just to see real no BS. These are the real numbers.
I do love when coaches are open about it and talk about it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And, something that you just you can't look it up, right? You can't research how much NIL is being spent. It's just something that's kind of behind. And that's why they keep saying it's like the wild, wild west. They need some rules. They need some contracts or something going on. But we're going down a rabbit hole right now that we're not going to solve.
No, I think it's got the College Sports Commission, is supposed to run the NIL now, right? Let me just tell you a little inside baseball here, okay? So as I think we've said, if people don't know, the 4 guys we have on our post game are NIL guys, from NIL and the Let It Fly media company is helping us out with that and so forth, okay? But we kind of like do it jointly, so we fill out all the paperwork. Anyway, so we have 4 players, 2 of which were immediately approved by the commission. Like, these things go in front of them like, okay, is this a legitimate business? Is it just some booster giving them $100,000, or is this actually a business where these guys are actually going to do stuff for the guy?
Right.
So that was not like that before. It is now. So they approved 2 of our guys. 2 of our guys are questioning, and like I got involved in a email chain. The commission involved me, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know what you're asking for here because we're not a Fortune 500 company. And then the other thing, so I go back to the guy at Creighton, the compliance guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't get it. Like they could approve 2 guys, and 2 guys didn't approve." So in a little bit of digging, being involved in this, and which reminds me, I got to get that email out to him today. But I'm not in no rush because of what I found out. Of all the NIL in the country in basketball, okay, think about it. Think about all these sheets of paper of these are the contract. They have 6 guys working on this.
Yeah.
You would
Not
think
sustainable.
when they see the amount we're paying them, be like, okay, yeah, prove it. Let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah, with 6 guys, like what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
but they're not.
interesting.
Like, it's just blew me away. Everybody, so the people in the know that I talked to said, yeah, it's just a total joke. It's like crazy.
Yeah, they got to
So
figure something out there.
Yeah, it's just so even though it's maybe better because of the, you're not going to get Bubba from Texas A&M just giving a guy 100,000. It's still got a long way to go.
Right. All right, I got a couple more things.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're going.
You
So
got
in our 8 wins this year, we have 165 to 85 assist to turnover ratio. So that's near 2. Okay. In our 5 losses, we have a 62 to 67 assist to turnover ratio, 0.9.
Okay.
So that seems to be a huge factor in our wins and losses is assist and turnover ratio. I mean, that obviously like that relates to more points, right? But that's a huge change. I mean, 2 to under 1. Drastic. So Josh Dix owns 18 assists and 4 turnovers in the wins compared to 15 assists and 9 turnovers in the losses. Same kind of stat with Ty Davis. He has 13 assists and 5 turnovers. And that's just since he came in the starting lineup. So, which is when we started to play well. So, I don't know. That seems to be a driving factor in wins and losses. And then this is interesting. Isaac Trout is the only player in the nation with more than 90 points and 1 turnover or less. So we've been kind of singing his praises on the post-game show. That's a pretty cool stat. Only player in the nation.
Because he did, now one would immediately say, well, he doesn't handle the ball, he doesn't dribble it. But he's handling it more this year, and he's handling it more in traffic this year, and he's not turning it over like he did other years in traffic, making passes.
And he has the ball in his hands a lot because we're trying to get him shot. So he's having to make good, smart passes.
Right. But sometimes he's just out in the perimeter where you're not. But I would say that, though, your turnover or assist stat, I would say that's more on the assist side. Like we were struggling so much with our offense early, we weren't getting assists. Guys were getting late shot clock.
For sure.
Chuck up a bucket. I think overall, all season long, we did a pretty good job of not turning the basketball over. I think that's been really good, especially for a group that's not, cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're averaging 10 to 12 turnovers per game, win or lose. But that assist number has went majorly up per game on the win. So yeah, it's definitely the assist number driving that.
Yep.
And then one more thing, I was looking at our wins and losses on KenPom, and our average rank of victory is 214th in the nation. So we beat the 285th, 343rd, 322nd, 75th was Oregon, 232nd, 102nd, 115th, and 237th team. So our best win is the 75th team.
Yeah,
Our losses have
come. If you look on team sheets on the net, we don't have anything in 1 or 2. So
yeah. And then our losses are an average of 23rd rank. So 4th, 29th, 3rd, 22nd. And then Kansas State, that game that we keep talking about, was 58th. That Kansas State game would have been
Kansas State's moving up, though. They were in the hundreds. They're moving up.
Correct.
The other thing, though, is like you would think that heavy, schedule would help our strength of schedule, but it really hasn't. And the reason why is because we we played, like, when we're talking about bye games, we played like really bad bye games, which I don't like. I think I've said this before. So I helped the school with their schedule this year, and we tried to avoid those really super bad ones. And because of that, their strength of schedule is not bad considering who they've played, because they haven't really played anybody good. But we've avoided the really bad games. You're okay. You're okay with 250 games, but we've had a lot of 300 plusers, which are, so.
Yeah, I mean, our strength of schedule now is 48th, so it's not like amazing, but it's definitely, top 50 is good.
48th in the country?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Do you think we're better than, strength of schedule is better than that?
I think it's worse. Way worse.
No, it's
like if you go to team, well, see, it depends on, like, is this KenPom?
Yep.
Okay. So if you go off like the net strength of schedule, see, this is a weird year because of teams doing bracketology. I notice this all the time. The teams are like the difference between like KenPom, Torvik, and net are wild swings where usually they aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite understand why, but the numbers are way off. So Creighton's 58th in net, which kind of mirrors Ken Palm a little bit.
Yeah.
Their strength of schedule is okay. Yeah, they have them 51 and 54.
Yeah, so it's pretty much spot on.
Hmm.
We're about 50th.
That does
Could probably
not
say that.
correlate. The last time I looked. Hold on. Let me look at the team sheets here. All right. So Creighton is 58th, as I said. Okay. My bad. I must have just, as they say, misremembered.
Well, things also change a lot this year, especially. So
No. Yeah, no, this has got it correct. So our strength of record. So the two, like you can go over to Bracketville. We have what we call the BV rankings every week, and we came up with this because the last year the committee, Forbes did some research on it, what they relied on the most, and then we took it from there and took another step with it. So the things they relied the most on last year were the SOR, which is strength of record, the new metric, which was WOB, wins above bubble, and then the net. So we took all three of those and combined them together and come up with a composite every week. And so Creighton is 58 in net, SOR is 64, which you think would be better. WOB is 72, which is almost like our worst metric, which is really unusual considering like the predictive metrics is usually where we don't do well. We do really good on results based, but it's flipped this year. On predictive metrics, we're actually doing really well. Like BPI, which is ESPN1, just total crap. It's the most inaccurate thing. I don't know why they even have it on the team sheets for the committee. It's 45th. Ken Palm's 44. Torvik is 46th. So we're much better with the true computer numbers versus the computer numbers generated by results-based metrics. So predictives, we're doing great. Like predictive down the road, they think we're fine. And I think just knowing how this stuff works, I think it's because the teams we lost to are like three of the best teams in the country.
good teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Ken Palm has us finishing the year at 18 and 13 and 12 and 8 in the conference. So
that would be crown.
Yeah, that
territory.
wouldn't be NCAA tournament. Yeah,
it'd be crown territory. Yeah. By the way, I want to correct something I said earlier. We do have one quad 2 win. Xavier has moved up a little bit, so they're 122 now. It's just like
I'm surprised Oregon isn't there. Neutral site, top 70.
Oregon's 103, but Oregon hasn't.
Oh,
been
they went
winning.
down. Okay, well,
yeah, they're just not winning. We got to get to. Well, we're only 3 shots off, so yeah. So there's a chance if they just win a couple big games, they're gonna play a brutal schedule in the Big Ten.
Gonzaga by 9. I was
the one
really
that's
hoping they
killing
could
us,
pull through, but
Marquette. They're 180 in the net, which is unheard of. Like, yeah. So we had, I guess when I look at these numbers, they're not bad. Now some of these teams have moved up. Utah Tech is 222, Nichols 246, South Dakota 275, North Dakota 306, and Eastern Shore 322. So that's better than I thought it was. At one time, I think we had 4 teams above 300. So it's come back a little bit. So
yeah,
not bad.
the path.
All right, that was outstanding stuff, AJ.
I thought it was interesting.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much for that. We'll do more of these.
Let's do it.
I like it a lot. But we're not going to do any more shows until a week from Monday, or next Monday, I should say. We'll get you set for Butler. Just a huge matchup. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. Thanks for building this show. Our numbers for this show have just exploded here recently. So like this month of December, when you rank our shows that started the 1st of August, we have 7 of the top 10 ranked shows were just done in this month of December. So Thanks a lot. You'd think we'd have had more around the Vegas tournament or stuff like that, but no, it's just been this month. So that means it's growing. So really appreciate all the work you do, AJ. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to our sponsors, RTI and Infusion. And Merry Christmas, everyone. And we'll see you after Christmas.